7's gambit, or all these the two knights. And this is, by the way, the two knights, and White decides that he is not going to play knight d5 or d4. You get that a lot in blitz, but d3 is sort of the move they play mostly at the top, even though knight d5 is also played. And here black plays h6. And this is necessary if you want to place. If you play d6 here, then this is simply way too strong, and you're already in deep trouble, because d5 is now much less good with the bishop already defended here on c4. So d6 doesn't work, so you have to spend a tempo h6. That's how we used to play when I was a kid. You play h6 and a6 to avoid all the pins on the knights. We were always very afraid of pins. Castle and d6. So that's the way. And by the way, the reason why black does not play bishop e7 is because he wants to put the bishop here. So that's basically the main idea. a4 is a natural space gaining move on the queen side. This is one of the good moves. Another move is of course c3. But anyway, this does provide a retreat here, and this pawn might go further up. So g6. Black could also play g5. That's another move. It's not totally bad, but it seems a little bit dubious to make a hole. We can see that when you play g5, then this hole here is unrepairable, and if you're unlucky, a knight will sit there at some time in the future and make your life miserable. He didn't play that. He played g6. It's also in a crucial match, it's kind of hard to play g5, I think. And white black continue with a5. It might go all the way up here, just creating some weaknesses, and a6. So black is now at less space, and d4, very active move. Bishop d4, pinning the knight, and getting ready to attack back with the knight here. And he takes, and he didn't take with the pawn, knight, he takes with the pawn, and knight bd2, bishop d7. And I think white can be happy with the opening here. This structure is probably a little bit better for him. The bishop here is not doing much. Of course, in the long run, black is hoping to play f5 at some point, but even when he does, it will always create some weaknesses, because the flank attack is not as effective when there is an open file here, right? So this is something to remember. h3. So should you take or should you not take? Well, the thing is, bishops in general are better than knights. So you don't want to take. If you take here, then this guy here will be a monster on the white squares. So you will not allow that to sit unopposed. If you went here, you'll get a horrible pawn structure. So going back is seems like maybe the best move. It could also go to d7, but that's weird place to go. Knight e8, and this is black's idea. He wants to play knight d6 and support f5. It's also controlling this so that the knight cannot go here, which sometimes is a maneuver that is annoying. White is not afraid. Knight d6 and bishop d5. And basically white is lining up to put pressure on this. This one might go here and put pressure this way, or it might go here and something like this, and this one is the target probably, but also the d file could be a potential place for something bad to happen, and that's also why he goes rook d1, king h7, and here white decided, okay, I'm not gonna, f5 could be a little bit annoying. Black is preparing it really hard. Now, if he was afraid of it, he could have put the rook here just to have prophylaxis, so he could just take on e5 if f5 comes. But he decided to just exchange the knight. Also, that was the good knight here on d6, and putting pressure this way, putting pressure that way, and black decides f5. Still, a lot of us are very afraid when people come with the F pawn that this will lead to bad things happening. But at this moment, it's a long way from reaching anything near the king. So a good rule of thumb here is don't panic. Just stay safe and calm. And remember, this is also weakening. But this will not get pawn support anymore. Bishop e3, just taking it easy, saying, okay, you can do this, but then I will probably put the rook bishop here and follow up with b5 and have great pressure, and this is not really going to happen with anything bad going on. So rook f6, defending first, and here White decides to switch gear, and this is something you always wary of, is going here ready to launch into an attack. There's also all sorts of stuff here, sometimes even g4 to get the bishop back here. And by the way, the rook is now a little bit misplaced here. It should have been here. That would be nicer to have the rooks on these two squares. In general, and this is a good rule of thumb, in these structures you want the rooks on these two squares, e1 and d1. Queen h4. So black is a little bit afraid. Knight d5 is coming, and for instance, after something like this, knight d5, the king has to go somewhere. Going here does not inspire confidence, so he has to go back. Then maybe just f4, and I like White's position. It will not be easy to untangle this mess for black. The rook can't move because this square is needed, and so on, and you will have to rubble on the last squares here. So this does look nice for White, for sure. Anyway, so f4, this is also always something you are a little bit afraid of, and White decides to give the check, and king goes back, and bishop takes c6. Now, he didn't have to play that. He could also put the bishop here and say, okay, it's out of harm's way, and I will wait. And it's not so easy for black to sort of untangle at the same time. So bishop c5 looks like a natural move. Anyway, he took here. Looks very natural. Can't take back with the rook, with the queen, and so what to do instead? Because of rook d8. B takes, and here this was where White had planned a big combination. So can you guess what White's plan was? We are looking into the X-ray effect and pins and checks and so on, and forks. So White had planned a spectacular move here. He had planned to play, I'm sure he had planned, I don't know, I'm not inside Grgoriy Oparin's head, but I'm sure he had planned this move. The thing is, when he was calculating this, he said, I just take c6, rook d8, knight f7, winning the queen, and I'm getting two. He's getting a rook and a bishop. And a knight for the queen, but that's not enough compensation. And then he realized that this guy is hanging, and when you give a check on d8, the rook will interfere on f8, and black will be able to capture that one. So, and then I'm sure he's like, his head was exploding. He's just sitting, what is going on here? I miscalculated, and then he panicked and made a huge mistake. So he had to go for this. So can you calculate it? Well, you can pause the video and try to calculate it. The thing is, it leads to really complicated positions. Black, of course, has to take and check. And we see the great X-ray effect here, which is always nice. Of course, this is a check so he has to take, and queen takes. And the thing is, he probably missed was black goes back, rook f8, threatening the queen, and the queen will probably take here, and you take here. And he realized, I'm looking at two bishops and a rook for the queen. That is a lot. That is a lot. And then he decided, I'm not going to play this. This is too dangerous. The thing is, after this, something like this, the position is very, very unclear, because black has some problems coordinating. The bishops are not working very well, and so on. So something like, say something like this is basically unclear. And I think the computer probably prefer white a little bit here, because white is active, the pawns on the queen side is weak, and so on. So this is very unclear, but of course, this was not what Oparin expected when he made his big combination. Instead, he panicked completely. The fog was in his brain, and he played this move, which is a disaster. It looks kind of okay. Also, I take, you take, and that's probably fine. The thing is, what he didn't realize, which was a rude awakening, as they say, is, of course, the bishop is still hanging. The problem was this move was the big issue, double attacking the knight and the bishop. And the thing is, what white didn't completely missed, of course, was that when you take here and you take here, then the queen is trapped. And by the way, this is always sort of when strong players, Oparin is a very strong player, he's almost 2700, when they miscalculate, it's always because they stop the variation too soon. They say, okay, I play here, and then queen d6, well, I can just take with the knight, and if he takes on e3, I just move back, or I can have a check on rook d8, and they simply missed that the queen was getting trapped here. So instead he played this move, and after this white is in, you just take, and the bishops are now very strong, and actually this is of course a very unpleasant move, threatening to go here and here. By the way, I think yeah, I think he played bishop f2, nice move, and rook here, and here I think you can probably take on h3. But anyway, white completely missed the plot here. After this move, black is winning. The bishop is, if you try to stop the pawn in a sensible way, the bishops are coming out, and they're gonna do really nasty things on c4 and so on. So it's just a lost position, and it went really fast downhill. Check. Pinning the bishop. Problem is, it's not a real pin, because the bishop can move, and here I think actually I think this move wins. He didn't see that. He just played another more prosaic moves, like I think he played this move and attacking the bishop, ready for e2, and nothing to be done here. Black can is winning, and white resigned the game, and I thought that was interesting, and also it was such a cool moment that it was clear that white took on c6 with the concrete idea to play rook d8, and then he just somehow missed that the bishop was hanging here. By the way, much apologize for not having posted for a long time. We've been incredibly busy here at Kh Online. Hopefully we will have more time in the future. We are landing a lot of customers, so we don't have time to this. This is more like a leisure project or something. It's not something that bring in big cash flows. So when the paying customers are banging on the door, we have to reply. This was GM Talks.